Well, well, well. How the turntables
have turned. Media and critics love blaming us, the fans, for review bombing all this trash content that the studios keep pushing out on us. But today, it is the opposite. Critics are review bombing Kevin Costner's dream project, 20 years in the making, self-funded, and they are straight hating on it. And the only evidence I need, the worst MCU movie ever made, the worst comic book movie ever made in general, Thor Love and Thunder, aka Thor Love and Trash. I have a video dismantling every single part of that film. I'm not going to do it here. It is the worst comic book movie I've ever seen, and one of the worst movies, period, ever made. That film has a 63% fresh from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Horizon, this beautiful story about the American story, the American Saga, is at 48. Before I get deeper into this, I just want to make it clear, if you're an audience member like me and you just did not like this movie, that's perfectly fine. All film, art is subjective. I am not coming at you. I'm coming at the critics who stood up and gave this man a standing ovation for 10 minutes. Had him out here crying. Kevin Costner out here crying in front of people just to be keyboard warriors behind his back. And how I know there's an agenda behind this? Really, the only critique you can find scrolling through is that this should have been a TV show. It's written like a TV show. It's episodic like a TV show. You're gonna give it a 48% because of that? So the movie's 3 hours, and you kind of get an hour with each set of characters, maybe a little less because there's really 4 storylines. I'd rather get 3 episodes worth at once. These cats really wanted this movie. They would rather sit down and have to wait 3 weeks, episode per week. Because let's keep it real, Netflix is the only streamer right here that still releases everything all at once. It would be 1 hour per week versus just sitting down for 3 hours at the movies on a big screen, seeing it on the best quality, and getting all this information at once. That's crazy, bro. That doesn't make any sense, and that's how I know this is fake. My mom and I went to see the film this past weekend. Took her for her birthday. I know, nice guy, no big deal. We sit there for 3 hours, we use the bathroom afterwards, we walk outside, and we look at each other and say, I don't know what those reviews are talking about, we loved it. We looked at each other and said the same thing. There are so many characters that I am invested in. If chapter 2 was available immediately, right then, leaving the theater, I'd have to get something to eat, but I would sit down and willingly watch another 3 hours to learn what happened. I actually really like how many characters are in it. Again, you get the 4 storylines at once. You get one in Arizona, one in Wyoming, one in Montana, and then one on the Santa Fe Trail, or Oregon Trail, moving west through Kansas. All 4 of those regions of the West are portrayed, and this is all happening the year before, and now the Civil War back east is about to start. And if you're a history person like me, you probably agree this is one of the more interesting time periods in American history. You have all these different groups moving west while the Civil War is about to start back east. You got white people, you got white immigrants, there's even British people in this, there's Native Americans, there's Asian Americans, there's free black people. All these groups are portrayed and shown in this film, and I will say, accurately at that. It's a true portrayal of the American Saga. There's no hidden agendas and there's no identity politics, and there shouldn't be, because the true story of what happened in the American West is interesting enough. It's good enough for a movie. And the acting, oh bro, the cast, Kevin nailed this cast. One of the reasons why I'm so invested in so many of the characters moving forward is because the cast and the acting is so good. Specifically, Sienna Miller absolutely knocks it out of the park, as she always does. And the girl they cast to be her daughter, I have never seen a more accurate mother-daughter casting in a movie or show ever, I don't think. Halfway through the movie, I'm like, this has to be Sienna Miller's actual daughter. Like, they look identical. It's crazy. And obviously being out in the American West, the scenery and the shots are beautiful as well. And I may or may not throw up a shot here of my trip out to the American West last year, just to highlight how much I enjoyed the scenery. I will say, I wish they would have shot this on film, but I understand digital is the way to go, especially in a self-financed project like this, where truly every $100,000 really counts. But this movie, with these battle scenes, this action, these tense moments, on film, looking like Oppenheimer or looking like the Hateful Eight, whoo, that would have been chef's kiss. Another example for you. A few years ago, Ad Astra, the worst movie I have ever seen in a movie theater. The only time in my life I have almost walked out of a movie. The only reason why I didn't is because I checked the phone. There was only like 20 minutes left, so I was like, I might as well get my money's worth and just see how stupid and bad this movie can really get. Terrible. 83% from the critics. That movie was bona fide trash through and through. Now the reason why I'm so fired up about this is, again, this is self-financed, so the budget for the first film, they said it's between 50 and 100 million. I'm just gonna go off of the sets and the time that I know they had to take to film all this stuff. I'm gonna say it's 100. Let's just go with 100. So Kevin self-financed 38 million of it. Now that may be for chapter 1 and chapter 2, but still, even for a famous actor, that is a good chunk of change. He has this mystery donor from the Middle East who no one really knows who he is. And then he's got other people from the industry that have thrown him money here and there. There's no production studio that has given money to this. None of them wanted to touch it. This truly is a dream of his to make it come true. And he did it. He made chapter 1 and chapter 2, and they're working on chapter 3 as we speak. They are filming chapter 3 right now, but the well is drying up. They're going to rely a lot on digital sales. Kevin even said last week in an interview that his audience still buys DVDs, which is funny. But, I mean, I'm going to buy Horizon on 4K. I'm a physical media guy, and I definitely want this movie on my, 4K TV. Right now, through the first 2 weekends, we're at 23 million on that $100 million budget, so we got a way to go. I will say, just by a little bit, the second weekend actually did better than opening, so hopefully the word of mouth is going to help get this movie over the top to make more money. Part of why I'm making this video, even if it inspires 2 people to go see the movie, I hope it does. Just trying to do my part. You want to see a rant? This is not a rant. If you really want to see a rant video, wait till chapter 4. Wait for me to love these characters through three movies. And chapter 4 not happen because the critics bashed this movie as much as they could so people want to go see it. So now I'll count this as my more concise and coherent pitch to see the film. The characters are great. The cast is amazing. Obviously the scenery is beautiful. Kevin Costner is doing his thing. It's a very... Again, the critics, they're making stuff up. The movie's not hard to understand. It takes about 30 minutes to understand which story is happening at each location, and then once you get that and you start going back through all the locations, you're good. And as is the case for most Kevin Costner projects, there really is something here for everyone. Think along the lines of 1883, Yellowstone. There's gunfights. There's straight up battles. There's love scenes, there's love stories, there's good-looking men, there's good-looking women. This truly is an American epic, and it is a damn shame what mofos are doing to this movie. Not even giving it a chance to get to chapter 2 to try to see how these stories are going to start coming together. I'll close with this. If this same exact movie was made by Rian Johnson, Taika Waititi, it'd be an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm so disgusted, I don't even want to do my sign off.